As some of the Celtics rookies struggled to find consistent minutes, Grant Williams was the exception, playing 15 minutes a game for Boston, and while his stats are modest, he earned those minutes with good reliable defense, which Brad Stevens values. So today I want to break down his game as we can learn from some of the little things he does on the court. Let's get to it. Let's start with his defensive versatility. To give some background, he's only 6'6", but is listed as a big, as according to Cleaning the Glass, he's played 63% of his minutes at power forward and 37% at center. And he's in that PJ Tucker mold of a guy who, in a pinch, can guard all 5 positions, here switching on to Kyle Lowry and impressively staying in front. Particularly when he's at the 5, that versatility shines through, because the Celtics will often just switch everything with him. For instance, here he starts on Horford and then switches on to Trey Burke. This is possible for a few reasons. For one, he can adequately stay in front of guards. He doesn't have the quickest feet, but he has great instincts and anticipation, and here he cuts off one of the quickest guards in the league, and then finishes the possession on the 6'10" Gallinari. He'll definitely get beat from time to time, and here Westbrook is able to get by him, but he holds his own and is able to execute coverages on the perimeter. Here, after switching on to Trae Young, he forces him left, executing weak, the high pick and roll coverage they're in, and he gets the block. So he can switch on to guards, and he can play the 4 or the 5 in the first place because he's built like a tank, which lets him guard most 5s. And here Stevens even trusts him versus the 7-foot Brook Lopez, and he stonewalls him. This switchability is really important in certain matchups, and we saw that against the Rockets. Boston wanted to switch everything versus Houston, and Williams gave them another body to do so. He was able to switch onto Harden and handle this matchup while his teammates loaded to the ball. In this game, he took the backup center minutes from Cantor, and I'm sure Stevens appreciates the flexibility to have numerous options behind Tice, and Williams' defense on Harden was eye-opening. With Williams at center, the Celtics outscore their opponents and have a 103.6 defensive rating, which is elite. Now, the next stat isn't as flattering. While Williams is switchable, according to Second Spectrum, by the numbers, Williams is an atrocious post defender. The volume isn't high, but he's allowing almost 1.3 points per direct post up, and when watching the film, it wasn't pretty. This is the one area where he really looks like a rookie. He just lacks experience and isn't physical enough, despite having excellent strength. One of his main issues is he doesn't use his hands and arms enough. You can get away with a lot in the post, but here he has both arms up and he's being too cute. What makes Harden elite in the post is he understands it's the Wild West down there. The rules are tailored to benefit the defender. On contact, look how he absorbs the blow with his forearm and his shoulder while leaning in with his chest for leverage. Then he uses his left hand to swipe down. So for Williams, this is a weakness right now, but with more experience and changes to his technique, this should be able to turn into a strength. And while his numbers aren't great, he still is strong, and his appearance prevents him from having a target on his back. When he's at the 5 guarding John Collins here, the Hawks aren't changing their offense to post him up. So Grant brings value with his versatility, and he also does the little things on defense. Here's a simple example. As the pick and roll begins, he gets into help position early as the low man, so on the skip pass he can recover on the flight of the ball. Good anticipation closing out, but his teammate overhelps. What's interesting is that he can actually get quite aggressive helping off ball, and sometimes it backfires and gives his man an open 3. But the Celtics prioritize taking away shots at the rim, and Williams' aggressiveness helps with that. He understands that while he may give up a 3 here to Carter, protecting the rim is usually more important. So sure, at times he may overhelp, but generally he's just taking away the most efficient shots, which are at the rim. And here, off of a shooter, he nicely slides over to take the charge. All these little things add up. from his good help instincts to the fact that he's diligent boxing out. But my favorite little thing he does is how he switches. He's extremely physical to ensure a clean switch. And here, notice how he shoves Krugs up on the court to prevent an easy slip, and then he can hand Krugs off to Edwards. Look how he takes control by jamming Gallinari, and he's elite at this. This is important because not impacting the screener when you're switching or showing can allow for slips. Here, Giles doesn't touch Ibaka, and now Ibaka can easily slip to the rim. So the value of Grant is that he's not only switchable, but he's good at the nuances of switching itself. And another example is how he's alert with scram switches. Here, there's an initial switch putting Kemba on Noel, so Grant executes the off-ball scram switch, where he takes Noel and kicks Kemba out. Now there's no mismatch inside, Kemba is off the center, and Williams eventually gets the board. Also, I thought this quote from Marcus Smart was revealing. He communicates, he's one of the loudest guys out there, if not the loudest, and that helps our team out a lot. This is a meaningful quote. Communication is so vital defensively, and it seems like Williams leads the charge when he's out on the floor. Now, this could be tough to evaluate on TV, but it can be seen. All of Williams' switches are clean, and he'll make subtle plays like this. It's a jazz fast break, and Bradley has beaten Kanter down the court. So Williams does a great job of sinking to prevent the layup, while at the same time he's telling Kanter to still take Bradley. And only when Kanter gets back does Williams go to take the ball. Terrific communication to protect the rim. When we glance at the analytics on Williams' defense, it's nice to see these three highly regarded metrics paint him as a positive defender, and they likely capture some of the little things Grant does. Now, on the other hand, these same metrics are not nearly as favorable to Grant's offense, and it's because he's not a very good offensive player right now. When he's at the 4, he has to stand along the perimeter, where he's a 25% three-point shooter. And while a problem in the regular season, it will be a much bigger problem in the playoffs when teams beg him to shoot his awkward jumper. When he's at the 5, at least he can stay in the dunker spot along the baseline, where his shooting is less of a problem and he's a gritty offensive rebounder. But the issue at the 5 is he's not a vertical threat whatsoever, and here in the dunker, with a 7-footer, this may be a lob dunk, but with Williams, he's just getting in the way. Combine that with the fact he hasn't shown much as a scorer, and it's not great, but I will say I've enjoyed his screening. He's willing, and he sets nice hard picks to free shooters. And like Tice, he's good at the subtle interior picks in the paint. Here he's rim running, and he notices Tatum drive left, so instead of being in the way, he sets a screen on Covington, which clears space. These little things at both ends add up, and here's another high IQ seal inside. When projecting Williams, it's fair to look at PJ Tucker, who added the 3 later in his career, and if Williams can do the same, he'll be a valuable glue guy for a long time. That's a big if, but it's possible. Well, there you have it, guys. I wouldn't call Williams good right now, but I do really enjoy watching intelligent young players, and despite his shortcomings, he's a useful player for Boston. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.